Welcome to the hot seat with Mr. White on Always Remember that all these stories is allegedly, so thanks for watching.
Learned a lot of lessons that, most people don't have to learn today or shouldn't have to learn, but I learned how to, conduct myself around the superior race.
You're white or whatever you are, I'm black or whatever I am. We're standing here talking now. That's how we get things done. You can't legislate love. The President of the United States can't legislate us into liking each other. We have to step forward and ask questions about each other and engage.
Denzel Washington sends terrifying warning about black men in Hollywood. It seems as though stars are no longer afraid of spilling the beans on what goes on in Hollywood. There are claims that the Hollywood elite are fighting Sound of Freedom because it exposes their deepest secrets. And while that is true, we are not talking about that in today's video. Today, we are talking about something completely different. Denzel Washington has decided to expose Hollywood's hidden agendas toward actors and stars of color.
It's a privilege to, I don't want to say it's overwhelming, but it's...
But what exactly did Denzel say about this? Let's find out, shall we? Hollywood has yet again been left shaking after Denzel Washington revealed their agenda for actors with African heritage. Not so long ago, Denzel Washington had an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, and what he talked about during this interview has made the Hollywood elite even more uneasy. Everyone knows Denzel for his courage. And while other people like Mel Gibson are exposing Hollywood for human trafficking, Denzel decided to reveal something else. The legendary actor decided to reveal some secrets and expose the movie industry's shady dealings, giving information that has everyone talking on social media. And even worse, or better, he has exposed some powerful figures as well. He decided to tell it all in this interview, and with so much resentment, he talked about how the Hollywood elite are so arrogant and have a belief that they are society's moral compass. He went a step further and compared their inflated sense of self-importance to the delusions of royalty. He even talked about how they all think and act like demigods among mortals with no power. However, all these stars are just closed off in their multi-million-dollar mansions. And to make it worse, they don't even know what struggles everyday people have to face in the world. Moreover, Denzel claimed that all these superstars don't know how hard it is for upcoming actors and newbies in the movie industry to make a name for themselves and be seen in the industry. And if there is anyone who has gone through a lot to get to where he is, it is Samuel L. Jackson. Samuel L. Jackson was born on December 21st, 1948 in Washington, D.C. His family wasn't well off, so he had to endure so much to make a name for himself. In addition, he had to do all that while struggling with growing up in a world with racism around every corner. When he was still young, his father abandoned the family, leaving his mother, Elizabeth Jackson, to raise him and his siblings alone. And because of this, he had to go through a lot of poverty and hardship. He grew up in Chattanooga, Tennessee, where he faced a lot of racism in all the schools he attended. He experienced firsthand all the injustice and inequality that had plagued his community. As he was growing up, the civil rights movement was gaining a lot of traction, and given that he saw all this firsthand, it significantly impacted the young boy. All this exposure would later influence his decision to become an activist and advocate for equal rights in the entertainment industry. Even though he faced a lot of obstacles, Jackson never gave up. From a young age, he expressed remarkable resilience and a deep passion for acting. Later on, he attended Morehouse College in Atlanta, Georgia, where he joined the dramatic troupe. And all this while, he started shaping his career on stage. When he graduated, he joined the Black Power movement, which focused on empowering Black communities through artistic expression and political activism. And thus began his journey to become a Hollywood star. He faced so much more than ever as he continued his journey to Hollywood. He was no different from other aspiring stars. The fame and bright lights of being an actor in Hollywood drew him in as his career advanced. However, success always has a cost, and he would later learn that the hard way. The pressure from the entertainment industry and his personal struggles led him to use drugs to numb the pain, and with time, he became an addict. Let's just say that the darker side of Hollywood is not that friendly, and the pressure and expectations from society are enough to make someone suffocate. The more famous he became, the more temptations he had to face. And to get away from all the stress in the industry and the high demands that came with it, he started using drugs as his escape route. However, it was much worse than you would imagine. During an appearance on Jennifer Hudson's show, Jackson talked about his terrible past with substance abuse. But when you hear his wife's story, it is entirely different and pretty interesting. He discussed his wife's story, explaining that he found himself needing to converse with her grandfather because he had expressed a desire to walk her down the aisle before his death, insinuating his disapproval of her cohabiting with her partner outside of marriage. As a result, he had to approach him to formally formally request her hand in marriage.
I think I was the person in the little box that said a very naughty word.
His assumption was that this course of events likely unfolded due to his drug use at the time, which had left him unclear about many aspects of his life. As per his recollection, he remembered returning home one day to find that she had already arranged for the printing of wedding invitations. She had handed him a pile with a simple instruction to be there. As he talked about his past, he also mentioned that his wife remembered more than he did then. And if it weren't for the love and support of his wife, Jackson might not be the star he is right now. One thing they can testify to is that their marriage has stood the test of time. Even Jackson admits that there were times he felt his wife had a chance to leave, but she chose to stay either way. Jackson's addiction was so bad that he would even pass out on the floor. Occasionally, his wife would find him reeking of alcohol and drugs. However, she was patient enough with him and even helped him overcome the addiction. And as she did all this, Jackson didn't take it for granted, claiming she spent the most valuable years of her life with him. He even told People magazine, "She could have just said, 'Get out,' and left me into the world. Let me go and be whatever I was going to be." But even with all the stress of the addiction, his wife still supported and motivated him. However, Jackson's turning point was when he joined rehab in 1991. The moment he overcame his addiction, his life improved, and he regained control of his career and personal well-being. This made him even more determined to become better than Hollywood's demons. There was definitely a lot of ruthless competition in Hollywood, but in all this, Denzel came out as an example of what integrity and friendship are. Denzel has become one of the greats in the industry, having been in it for decades. All this has been possible because of his powerful performances and social impact. Eventually, Denzel Washington and Samuel L. Jackson ended up being great friends, even off-screen. At the time, Denzel was aware of the challenges Black artists faced and had made it his mission to support and lift them. So when Jackson was getting used to the industry's ways, Denzel held his hand and encouraged him.
Have done that. And
Spike Lee has put more African Americans to work in this business.
The two have appeared on screen in several projects, and from each of these instances, you can see what great friends they are. One of their most outstanding collaborations was in Spike Lee's Mo Better Blues and Malcolm X, which demonstrated more than their skills in acting. These collaborations also showed their commitment to bringing meaningful and authentic narratives to Black audiences. But even though he was already famous in the industry, it was still not easy for Jackson. Jackson remembers an incident during the filming of Pulp Fiction that left him shaken and reminded him of the harsh truth that he had to face. It was after a performance at an old 99-seat theater. As he and his friends were just talking, they found themselves surrounded by sheriff's cars with guns pointed at all of them. And when they asked why, they were told that there were reports of 5 Black men standing on a corner with weapons. Even worse was that all this happened when Jackson's career was at its peak. This was a clear indication that discrimination doesn't choose sides. It doesn't matter whether you are famous or successful as long as you are Black. Even though he had already made his way into Hollywood, Jackson still faced discrimination against Black people. This incident made it clear to Jackson that he was just another Black man, even in Hollywood. And after this, he started treading carefully and remaining vigilant. Jackson's experience is a clear indication that there is a broader problem within the entertainment industry and society. Hollywood has a history of systemic racism, and Black actors face all sorts of discrimination. They are underrepresented on screen, overlooked, and even stereotyped. Even other celebrities like Monique have had to face all this. Dave Chappelle has also gone through this, but nobody wants to discuss it. However, Denzel has finally talked about this, saying Hollywood is unfair to all people of color, especially those with African roots. Denzel says all rising stars, especially Black people, should brace themselves for all this. What do you think about Denzel's claims? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments section below. And before you go, leave a like and don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next one.